Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says a cylindrical water tank has a circumference of 6 pi meters and a height of 2.5 meters. Which option is the closest volume B of the water tank in cubic meters? So let's highlight what is it that I'm looking for. Well, I am looking for the volume, right? And it says closest, which means you are gonna find an approximation for the volume that you find, okay? And what shape are we dealing with? Well, it doesn't really say the name of the shape, but it says one word that should make you think about a shape that we have studied before. And that word is cylindrical water tank. Cylindrical looks very much like the word cylinder, right? Yes, so yes, we're going to be working with a cylinder. Now, what else is given to me? Well, it says that the circumference is 6 pi meters and the height is 2.5 meters. Okay, so now that I know what shape am I dealing with, what about if we draw the shape? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is draw the shape. So you may draw a cylinder. You can pause it so you can draw it, or maybe you have it ready. So I do have some numbers already, but it has no labels. So the first thing I need to do is write the labels. So 2.5 is the height. Therefore, I am gonna write down h equals 6 pi. It's the circumference, so be careful with that. That's not diameter, that's not radius. So make sure you write down C equals, because that's your circumference, okay? And we'll talk about what circumference is in a minute. Okay, what I need to do next is I need to write the formula for the volume of a cylinder. And the volume is gonna be capital B times H, okay? So it's the same thing, we need to find the capital B, which means area of the base, right? And my base is a circle, okay? So what I need to do now is I need to write down the formula for area of a circle. So the formula is, and I'm gonna write it down with a capital B, it's pi radius squared, okay? What I wanna do next is we are gonna highlight the base, right? That's my circle, and that's my other circle. And of course, I am gonna write down the capital B, because capital B is the area of that base, okay? So what I wanna do next is I wanna come back to my formula, and I am gonna replace capital B, because remember capital B, we have it over here. I'm gonna replace it with that I underlined. So I will write down pi radius squared times the height. Okay, now I'm gonna be replacing some values. So the pi, I do not replace it. I will leave pi. But now I need to find the radius, and I don't have a radius. I have only circumference. So I'm gonna pause a little bit on the volume, because I need to come back and work with my circumference, right? So it says that circumference is gonna be 6 pi. But first of all, what about if we come up with the formula for circumference? There's two formulas you can use. The first one says circumference equals pi times diameter, but I'm not looking for diameter, so you know what? We're not gonna use that one. There is a second formula that says circumference equals 2 pi radius. So I will use that one since I'm looking for radius. Now I do have circumference here, and it says that is equals to that. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna replace my C, which is circumference, for 6 pi. I'm not gonna write down the units. We'll come back to the units later on. And I'm gonna continue writing the formula, okay? So remember, the whole idea is to leave R by itself. So I can either divide by pi first, then divide by 2. Or I can actually divide by both of them. I can divide by 2 pi. Now remember, the reason why I'm dividing by 2 pi is because 2 is multiplying pi, and pi is also multiplying the r. It's a multiplication. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. Okay, so my pi divided by pi cancels. 2 divided by 2 is 1, which actually leaves r by itself. And 6 pi divided by 2 pi, think about it from this perspective. Pi divided by pi cancels or gives me a 1. And 6 divided by 2, it's 3. So this is my radius. So now I can actually go back to my formula and replace radius with 3, and it's actually 3 meters, right? Square. And the height is 2.5 meters. Okay, so let's see. My pi, I brought it down. I didn't do anything with that. Then my radius square is right here, and it's been raised to the second power, same thing. My height, notice how my height, it's substituted with 2.5 meters. Okay, so everything is accounted for, right? Now, if you input that in the calculator, so let me give you a second, 2-3 seconds for you guys to write it on the calculator, and we will get an answer that is very close to what? Yes, I got something like 70.68 cubic meters, which, if you go back to the problem, it's very close to answer choice D. Very good. Now, notice how they didn't, they're actually writing out the units that we're using, which is cubic meters, right? But that's the same thing that I got.